Now the Amish people, they live more like Ohio and Pennsylvania and so on. And they live more in the countryside. They believe in horse and buggy. They don't believe in cars and electricity and modern amenities and so on. And so their vehicles move very slow, and there's a sign that you put behind slow-moving vehicles that says it's slow-moving. Now these Amish are charged for not displaying that slow-moving sign, and they're thinking in terms of putting them in jail and so forth. And I've had a question in my mind about these antiquated laws. There are laws on the books that are so old and that it need to be modernized, and they still have teeth, whereas they shouldn't. For example, I'm sure that somebody coming to the road will see it's a horse and buggy and will slow down. If you come around a corner and it's very hard for you to see them ride into them, you'd run into them whether they have a sign or not. Now, I mean, of course, not having a sign means that the state can get some money, the city can get some money, the county can get some money by charging you for not having it. But I think if for practical purposes, basically it's useless because, as I said, somebody will see it's a horse and buggy and know it will be moving slow. And I mean, when you're driving, you have your sight out there, the roads are good, you could go to the left or whatever, and go to the right, you could move around, you don't have to necessarily have an accident. Now, this goes again like lights. Again, in the older types, you had, like kerosene oil lamps on the posts and so forth, and they were so far apart that you couldn't even see anything. Today, the highways are very bright. The streets are lit up, the homes are lit up. There's absolutely no need for lights, it seems. Now, they might argue that if you're going on one street and a person's coming at perpendicular to you, coming, to your side, they will see your light shining above and they'll know cars coming. But I mean, you don't swing into that street like that. You come, you stop, and you look both sides, and you'll see the car coming. If you're coming on a two-lane road, again, the lights normally blind, and you have to focus on one side and just don't look and hope the guy isn't swerving at you and pass. So the question is, do we have to drive with lights? Well, of course, I can imagine if cars ahead of you and one is behind. If you're behind a car or ahead of another car and you want to stop and you don't show it, mash the brakes, the person would be alerted that you're stopping and so on. I don't know. As I said, all highways now have lights. Everywhere, lights everywhere. We have a light pollution problem. Birds can't even sleep at night. You live in a home, you gotta lock down your place so that it becomes dark so it would induce sleep or you could get some good sleep. Some other things I noticed that are antiquated. And this one I'm just exploring. I don't have an opinion in it. Say like indecent exposure. Now, if a guy definitely and intentionally sees some children coming and he takes out his penis and starts to do sex acts and whatever he's doing, showing it, whapping it around at them. I mean, this is an aggressive act. He's attacking these people and so forth, and he should be charged for this indecent and lewd behavior. But as in Florida, for example, this guy left the road and he went into an alleyway. Well, it's a open field, a pasture, and there's a track cutting through it. So he went over there and he's urinating by a tree, not knowing that children use this path to come down the road. And so they're coming through this path, and they saw him, and they went and complained to the police, and then he was charged with indecent exposure. The guy's intention was not to expose himself. He was just urinating, and he went off the street. He turned his back to the public, and he was in the bush. But some kids coming through, and bam, he's charged, and now he has to register everywhere he goes, and he's considered a sexual deviant, and so forth. The point though is this, that long time, kids never saw, sexual organs of the adults in books. Yeah, they were in books, but it wasn't in the access to the kids. They never discussed it in school until you maybe go to high school and you start discussing, anatomy and so forth and so on. But today, even as soon as they go to elementary school, they're showing them penis and vagina, showing them condom, how to put on the condom and all this stuff, talking about sex and so forth. And they say this is to help the kids to have sexual information so they could sort of avert perverts from molesting them or sexually using them, etc., abusing them and so on. But so then, if now they're exposed to it so early, so then if they see one in real life, what's the point? Is it going to traumatize them by seeing a real one or one in a book? You know? So there it goes. I mean, you might have other laws that you think are kind of like antiquated, and you know, perhaps they should go. Even foster care is another one that should go, and so on. So let me hear what you think about these various antiquated laws that they have around the place.